All right, so we are live now, and the main topic we're going to be talking about this week is our three main underlying limiting beliefs. Okay, but a question had come up about staying motivated on a goal, so I'm going to make a quick point about this. Okay, and because I have a literal laptop on my lap. And the reason why I do is because so you can actually hear the fan a little bit. But the reason why I do is so that way as questions get asked to me during the live show, I can type things out, talking points or learning points. I can type them out and put them onto the screen so it's something to remember, and for people who are watching afterwards, as kind of like a visual cue if they're moving through the video. 3 main and 9. That's good. That's what we're going to be talking about mostly. But the question had come up about staying motivated to move towards the goals. So I'm going to create a banner here. And I'm just basically typing out dopamine. It's a reward and desire. Very dry in here. Okay, so I'm going to hide that ticker. So because of this system I have here, I can do, nope, that's a different week. Oh my God, I just created a banner and I didn't hit save. All right, let's do it again. Dopamine. So this, by the way, is what I edit out after the live gets recorded. I then go back through the recording, I download this recording, and then I just edit out me typing all of these. So if you watch a previous recording, I haven't done them all yet. I've only done the first one. I haven't even put it up. Okay, dopamine, but I will. Okay, reward. Oh my gosh, and desire. I literally add banner. I did it. Oh, all right, fine. There it is. Okay. So whenever you have an expectation, if you set an expectation, or there is some kind of need that you have to have met. So the expectation is kind of more of a want or a desire. And or if you feel just simply like proud of yourself. Okay. So sorry. Now I don't normally drink water during the whew. All right. So I have dry air. And the dry air is totally fine when I'm not talking, but now I'm talking and it's drying my throat out. So then I go to drink, and now when I'm drinking, now that causes me to like get burpy. So we're going to deal with it. Okay, we're just going to move forward. We only need to do this for about 15 minutes. We're going to be fine. All right. Dopamine. So I looked this up because I like I said, I was going to do this this whole week on this topic. And I actually chose to go with the 3 underlying limiting beliefs because they're much more powerful. And also, you don't really have to say very much about the dopamine. Okay, so we can just make this point and it'll just be clear. So if my throat is dry and I think to myself, okay, like in my research, this was an actual example of how we create dopamine. I didn't realize it was this easy. If I think, wow, my throat is dry, I should do something for myself. I should drink some water. Literally, when I drink the water, my brain actually releases dopamine. It's that easy. Okay. The thing is that that's a normal amount of dopamine, and that registers within ourselves that we're doing something good. And the reward is dopamine, which actually makes us feel happy. Okay. It's one of our happy chemicals. If we're not doing enough nice things for ourselves, or if we feel like that's not good enough and we want way more dopamine, then we might go somewhere like the internet. And Facebook is designed to actually release dopamine in the way that you're interacting with it. So whenever you're using Instagram or Facebook and you're scrolling, likes, comments, seeing something that has a whole bunch of success, like something that goes viral, even though that's not your thing going viral, it still actually releases dopamine in you. Okay, because it's this excitement that it's possible. And that's where the word desire comes in. So it's a good thing I actually, even though I have my own training, I always go and look up what the latest science is, because apparently science doesn't last that long. Apparently it's true. Like, it's like, oh, how long ago was that study? They always ask, because new information comes out. And this is something new. The word desire for me is new. So dopamine, every time you get these, you're scrolling on Facebook and you're getting all these like hits of happiness. You get these smiles like, oh, what a great idea. Oh, that's a funny comment, or whatever. Every single time you're getting this dopamine tap, it's releasing more and more dopamine. And the thing is that we're not supposed to get that much. We're really not supposed to get that much. We're supposed to only get a normal amount of dopamine from everyday life. But Facebook, Instagram, especially TikTok, is an abnormal, just a totally abnormal amount of dopamine. And dopamine, you get habituated to it. So it is a chemical. It is technically a drug that your body produces. And if you get too much dopamine, you're going to you're gonna stabilize at a higher amount of dopamine. And when you get less, you're gonna feel very unmotivated. Okay, you're just not going to want to do anything. So dopamine, very commonly spoken of as a reward chemical, and something that you get as somebody says, wow, you look really nice today. Bing, you got some dopamine. It's that fast. Okay, well, what a nice smile you have. Bing, dopamine. So the thing is that it's actually linked to your, if you have a balanced amount of dopamine, if you have desire or motivation to do something that day. Okay, so the more of how do I say this? When you have a balanced amount of dopamine, you will have a balanced amount of desire to create something or to go do something. Okay, if you get too much dopamine, like you spend 45 minutes surfing social media and you're just taking in so much dopamine. By the way, social media also brings your mind into an alpha brainwave, which is meditative. It's actually one of your most healing and most productive brainwave states is alpha. And it's designed to bring you into alpha, which feels kind of like when you're in alpha, when you're like this, when you're a bit of a zombie. Okay, that's what alpha looks like. Okay, below alpha is theta, and this is alpha. Just staring at whatever's coming at your face, and you're just totally like suggestive to it, like hypnotically suggested to everything that's coming at. That's alpha. Okay, and so you're easily programmed. And that's also why it's so easy for the dopamine to just kick in, because you're not being discerning, you're not really thinking, or you're not judging, you're not being critical of what you're taking in, you're just scrolling and letting it all come in. That's alpha. Alpha is when you feel actually most peaceful. And now you're getting all this dopamine coming in, and so now you're feeling peaceful, but you're getting these happiness shots of dopamine. That's what social media is scientifically engineered to create. Below alpha is this. Okay, you'll literally fall asleep if you go any lower than alpha. So it has to be moving at a rate to stop you from falling asleep. And that's where the dopamine comes in. So why am I saying all of this? All of this is to answer this question that came up, staying motivated. If you do that for a half an hour and you get a whole bunch of dopamine, and you're super in this like alpha meditative mind state, as soon as you turn off the phone, you are going to get a dip. Boom. You're going to go down. Okay? Because you just turned off your drug. The drug inducer, technically. You're the drug maker. And you turn off the drug inducer. Now you have no reason. You have nothing that's making you create dopamine at this moment. So now you have to be motivated, self-motivated to go do something. But if your dopamine goes down, you can't have desire. You can't have motivation. Okay? So this is science. I just looked it up. So they took some rats and they wired into the rat's brain very specifically a way of triggering a dopamine response. And they just like hit this button, and an electrical signal goes through and dopamine goes into the rat's brain. So then they put the button that does that into the cage with the rat, and the rat goes over to the button, taps it. It's like, whoa, dopamine ping. So then they feed the rat, they give the rat water, and it goes back and taps that button. Ooh, dopamine, I like this. Starts tapping that button constantly, just won't stop. Rats stop eating, they stop drinking, they won't do anything else. They just literally keep tapping the button, and they do it until they fall over from exhaustion because they have completely spent all of their bioenergy, and they haven't eaten or drank or slept in order to recover their energy. So they pass out. And as soon as they wake back up, they go right back to the dopamine button. They just keep smashing it. So then they take away the dopamine button. Okay. So now the rat is totally like accustomed to having a certain amount of dopamine. They take away the dopamine button, and the rat is completely lethargic, wants to do nothing, has no desire whatsoever. None. It was so used to getting rewards. Bing, dopamine, bing, dopamine. And as soon as that dopamine's gone, they put food and drink in front of the rat, which is obviously like totally needing it, and it does nothing. It literally does not have the desire to walk over to the food. That's how little motivation it has. It won't even move physically. So they put the food into the rat's mouth and it eats. And they put the water into the rat's mouth and it drinks. But if they move the water and the food like a few inches away, the rat's like, it's so much work. I don't feel like it. Okay? That's a real thing. Because it does not feel rewarded by going over and drinking and eating now. Because the amount of dopamine that it gets is so tiny. Bing, I just got some dopamine. Right there. Okay, that feels good. I'm going to do it again. Is this going to compare to me scrolling Facebook and seeing funny things and people like saying how much they like me? No, this is never going to. So the rat's like, what's the point? There's no use. Who cares? It's just food. Yeah, but the thing is, that's how you got your dopamine in the first place. So we're supposed to take dopamine vacations. Okay? We're supposed to take a break from excessive dopamine. And then you're going to get a crash, okay? Because it is a neurochemical, but it is a drug, and it is addictive, which is what makes it a drug, okay? Also, what makes dopamine a drug is that it alters your decisions. It alters your mood. That's also what makes it a drug. It is addictive, and it alters your decision making and your mood, your emotions, okay? Those two things make it a drug, which means you will have a withdrawal if you stop taking it. It's a drug, okay? It's just that you make it, so it's a naturally occurring neurochemical drug. So, how do you stay motivated? Well, first of all, when you get up in the morning, do not go straight to Facebook or social media, okay? Absolutely do not start your day with anything that creates dopamine. How do I say it? Like, in a way that's not, there's a word that I really want to say, and the word's just not synthetically. The word synthetically. I want to say, don't create dopamine in a synthetic way, okay? You are natural. You're a natural being. Drinking, eating, that's all part of your natural process. The phone is synthetic, okay? So anything that you get from your phone is not naturally occurring in your body and in your life. So when you start your day, start with natural reward systems. Go as long as you can without the dopamine hit of the social media, and you will actually train yourself to be more rewarded by working on your goal. Okay? Does that answer your question? I'm looking at your face, Lydia, so you can just nod if you want. Okay, type. So we have to talk to ourselves. This is gonna tie into the three main underlying limiting beliefs that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So you have to make a decision that working on your goal is rewarding. And the thing is that dopamine is something that is something that we like to feel in the moment. This is very, very specific about dopamine. It is an instant, like you literally push a button, get dopamine. It's like instant. Wow, that feels amazing. And then it just wears off like a few seconds later. It's really pretty quick in small shots. So the thing is that instant gratification is a real big it's the name, it's the famous, it's what makes dopamine so famous, really, is that it's instant gratification. It's just like, it feels good right now. Like, and it only took 1 second to get it. Like somebody went, I like you, and you, boom, you got some drugs. So when we're working towards a goal, we tend to tell ourselves that we're not going to feel rewarded until after we achieve the goal. So we tend to not keep moving towards the goal because there isn't enough dopamine being released along the way to the goal, because we've decided that it's not rewarding until after we achieve the goal. It's kind of like there's way too many steps on the way to getting the dopamine ping. Get it? So in order to keep motivated, it doesn't matter how tough the times are, by the way, you just have to break down the number of steps towards a goal and see that each and every little step that you take, literally just drinking a sip of water, see that each and every one of those is actually a reward. And I'm kind of multitasking because I'm reading some comments. Okay, thanks. So part of it is having this good self-talk, okay? Part of it is actually just deciding for yourself that it is rewarding to take the steps. So if I want to, let's say I want to put up a new web page. There's a whole series of steps to getting up a web page, okay? And maybe that's not super common for people that are watching. So let's just say like you want to put up a new Facebook post. Okay, let's say it's business related. So if you put up, okay, here's a great example. If you go to put up a Facebook post and it's about yourself, okay, it's like, click, I'm at the waterfalls post. The fact that you even posted it, the reward already comes in. You already get the dopamine ping just because you made the post. Now pay attention now. Just doing the action gave you the dopamine ping, just like me drinking the water, okay? But what if you have to make the post and it's with the desire to get business from it? So it's a business post. You're still at the waterfall. You still make the post. You put it up. No dopamine ping. Why? What's the difference? Because now you are expecting that somebody is going to react to that. Because if there's no reaction to that post, then there's no reward to your business. But putting up the post for personal reasons, it was just because you had the freedom to do it, because you were excited about what you were doing in the moment and you just wanted to share it. And the fact that you shared it at all, that was the reward. Just even being in the moment and sharing it was the reward. But as soon as you decide that there is an outcome that you require, I know I'm repeating myself, the outcome suddenly drives in your mind whether or not you got rewarded. That's self-inflicted. That was the new point I was trying to make. You were the one that was in control over whether or not it was rewarding anyway, all based on what you decided was what you felt rewarded by. So if you're moving towards a goal, you can break down the goal. So, okay, I need to make a post and I need to get 10 people to like it and whatever. Break that down. Okay, you know what? I need to come up with an idea in order to know what to make a post about. make a checklist. You don't have to physically write it out, but I mean, it does work if you want to do it that way too. Make a checklist. Okay, I got to just come up with a post idea. Micro steps, okay? Tiny steps. Get an idea. Write the content. Take a photo. Every little step. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. Get 10 people to like it. Okay? It's a long list. Now, every little thing that you do, pause just for a moment after getting it done. Feel rewarded. Okay, I got to come up with an idea. Come up with that. Okay, I got an idea. Yes, I got an idea. Okay, boom, dopamine ping. All right, now I got to just type it out. Typing it out. I did it. Okay, boom, dopamine ping. I think the point has been made. But now you're going to have, if you got 10 steps on your list, you got 10 dopamine pings all along the way. That's what keeps you motivated. Try and apply what I just said to any goal that you're coming up with, that you have, okay? Whatever it is, you just have to break it down to smaller steps, and you have to decide for yourself that getting that step done is completion and rewarding every little step. Because if you've decided, if your list is one item, get 10 people to like my Facebook post. Now you got a long way away before you feel, it's a long way to go before you feel rewarded. And if you don't get that dopamine ping, you're not going to get the desire to keep going on the next goal, especially if the previous goal didn't pay out. Now I got to make another post. I'm still not happy about the last one I made. Is that enough to answer the question? All right. I see a comment. Hey, Mawesh. I was literally having this conversation with a client today. Synchronicities. Thank you, Mawesh. I'm going to put that up just because I can. Hey, Mawesh. All right. All right. That's because she's on Facebook and everyone else is in the private chat, so I can't do that. So it's just nice to have fun. All right. All right. What are we actually talking about today? All right. I have to edit this. All right. I didn't actually type out the 3 points yet that we're going to be talking about today, but 3 main underlying beliefs. Belief number 1. Not good enough. Bam. I'll type the other ones out while I'm going. Okay. Your 3 main underlying limiting beliefs that are stopping you from pretty much like all kinds of stuff in your life. Okay. Not good enough. Okay. You can come up with all kinds of words for this. Not worthy. And really the term good. Okay. I'm just going to edit that. Do I have a way of editing that? I have to hide it to edit it. Not. Okay. I'm going to just put into quotes. Okay. The word good there, you can swap that out with anything. So not smart enough, not fast enough, not strong enough. You weren't there enough. You weren't lovable enough. You aren't, you're just not enough. Okay. But you have a word there that's your word. If anybody wants to type out some words that's theirs, then that's great because it'll make what I talk about here as examples. I can then target the example directly to you. But so send something. What do you put in there? What's your not enough? Okay. So if you don't have a word, we're about to go get it. All right. I'm going to go on a little journey. At some point you were a kid, I believe. I don't have proof. I wasn't there. But at some point you were a kid. And when you were a kid, you needed warmth, touch, food, water. The warmth and the touch was for comfort. So you needed comfort, food, water. Shelter, by the way, is comfort. It's just comfort. When you're a kid, you're not thinking of shelter. You're thinking of comfort. Play. You need to have fun. That's your dopamine, and that's some other things. You need to have fun. And you need to have nice one, not outgoing enough. Cool. Never gonna be good enough. It will never be enough. It will never be enough. Mawesh, I would love for you to try and I'm never gonna be good enough. It will never be enough. So because you're saying I'm never going to be good enough, it will never be enough. What that to me, it will never be enough sounds like your effort, like the amount of effort that you're putting in is never going to be like powerful enough, or there's like an amount, like the amount is not enough when the way you're wording it. So if that sounds accurate, but we're going to keep going on this little story because it's going to lead into what you're saying there, Mawesh. Okay. To bounce around these different outgoing enough. Okay, good. Outgoing. Let's get to the seven things. Yes, effort is correct. Okay. Outgoing and no amount of what I do is going to be enough for them. That's what I hear, Mawesh. That's mine. That's where I come from. No amount of what I do is ever going to make them happy. Like there's just never enough. It's not enough, right? That's what I hear in Mawesh's comment. Okay. So you needed these things, and it was your parents' duty to actually give you comfort, consistency. So predictability, habit, that's also part of comfort. Very important one, consistency. Praise, okay? You needed praise. You needed somebody to say, good job. You also needed somebody to show you the way. So if there was a dog and your parents were like, oh, I love dogs, you're going to like dogs. If your parents say, oh, it was such a rough day at work, but I don't have a choice because you got to work hard to make money because money doesn't grow on trees. That's the one I grew up with. Money doesn't grow on trees. I have a Christmas tree now, and I literally put $100 bills on it. So there is money growing on my tree. Okay, these kinds of things lead to all kinds of beliefs in your life. So what happens? You think, okay, well, money doesn't come easily. I need to work hard. And if I don't have enough money, then I'm not working hard enough. And you know what? Is there ever enough money? Maybe there's just never enough. And that's where that belief comes in. Okay. You needed for the praise, for the comfort, for the consistency, for the fun. If you didn't have enough fun, if you're playing because you're a kid and every kid needs to play and every kid wants to, or there's interest. Okay. I actually met some people that I was testing this theory that every single person needs to play. And I actually had people say, you can talk to my parents. I didn't play. And I'm like, everybody needs to laugh. They're like, oh, no. I went multiple years in my life without laughing. It's a real thing. I'm like, this is not possible. They're like, you can ask my parents. They're right there. You can ask. I never laughed. I'm like, what? How did you play? And they're like, what does play even mean? So I met only 2 people, I think maybe 3, that were like, I didn't play. You can't tell me that every kid needs to play. I'm like, I'm pretty sure every kid needs to play. But so I had to correct this. Okay. Every kid has to have an interest. Okay. Something is interesting and it grabs their focus and they want to learn about it. Okay. So I call that play or discovery. Discovery is another way to put it. Okay. So if your parents told you, look, we can't be playing all the time. Okay. Like, you know what? I don't have time to play with you. I need to rest because I'm working so hard. Or, if you're just playing all the time, you're never going to get anywhere in life. Every time your parents took away something from you that said that what you needed to play, you were a kid, or you needed to have interest, you needed that. I can't stress that enough. And if your parents said to you, there's something wrong with playing too much, you are going to feel like you are not good enough. If you needed to be held, okay, some people are very touchy-feely, okay, kinesthetic processors. They need to be held. They need fuzzy things like this they're always wearing warm, cozy thing, sweaters and stuff. And they like their water warm instead of cold. They're very touchy. Those are the kinds of people, if you're like that, you are somebody that needed a lot of hugs. And if you didn't get a lot of hugs, you're going to say you weren't good enough. Okay. You are going to feel like you weren't lovable enough, that you weren't attractive enough, that you weren't, cute enough. I don't mean attractive. You're a kid. You're not cute enough, that you're not desirable enough. There are people that actually think that they were too chubby as a kid. Kids are chubby, like all kids are chubby. And somehow they took on the belief that they were too chubby as a kid because their parents didn't hug them enough. Okay. These are all the ways that you form that you're not good enough. Here's another one. If your parents were preoccupied, they were too bored. So they're always just watching TV or they're always just reading something. And every time you come along, you say, you want to play. They're like, oh, I really just need to relax. So then you go as a kid and go, okay, let's relax together. We'll do it together. Yeah, there's Jennifer. Hey, Jen. So you say, okay, we'll relax together. And if the parents say to you, no, go play by yourself, I just need to relax, you're going to take in that you aren't relaxing enough, that you aren't good enough to give your parents what they need. It's not even your job. If your parents want to have fun, they're like, you know what? Oh man, every kid, I don't know any kid that doesn't know this, but like, you're trying to play with your parents every day and they're like, okay, let's play a game together. Yay. They're like, okay, you know what? I have friends coming over, and then you're a kid and you see that all the adults have come over and they're having a dinner party or whatever. And they tell the kids to go play by themselves kind of thing. And you listen in and your parents are laughing way harder than they are with you. Like your parents just seem like they're having way better of a time than every time they played with you. Huh? Any nods on that one? I know that one, right? You're going to feel like you're not fun enough. You're going to feel like you're not interesting enough. That's all going to lead to all these things in your life that you are experiencing now. It's going to lead to you're not attractive enough, or you're not, touchable enough, and that's going to lead to ideas and beliefs that that you don't deserve it. And ultimately, the thing to remember is, then comes exactly. I'm going to post that one up. So Jen says these are important things. They stay with you forever. These little tiny things that your parents do, and they're not trained. They're not psychologists, all of them. And even when they are, they don't still have the best self-care. So even if they know what they're supposed to be doing, they still don't do it for you because they're not taking best care of themselves. Okay. And then after you don't get enough from your parents, you now go out into the world and start looking for it from other people. Okay. To feel full. So I just want to honor Jennifer, and the little things like just not playing with you enough. Now, this is a tough one because Leota is not all over Lydia's head right now. Because I don't know why. Where's Leota, Lydia? So usually when I put there's Leota. Hi. Actually, you know what? I can't hear Leota just because I don't have sound coming back. But hi, Leota. So Leota is in almost every single week. And sometimes, what's really tough is sometimes, kids have an infinite amount of wanting to play. Okay. It's because there's so much dopamine that comes from it. There's so much reward from the attention that you give your kid. There's so much fun that they're having that they're going to do it until they pass out. All right. Thanks, Leota. I'm going to take you guys off. I just realized I can't hear anybody. All right. They're going to play until they pass out. They're going to just play until they pass out. Okay. Just like the rats we were talking about in the study. So there is an amount of judgment that comes in from the parent's perspective where they're like, okay, look, if I just played with you night and day all the time until you passed out every day, you're going to have a baseline of dopamine that's way too high. So every time I'm like, I just need to go take a shower, like go play by yourself for 10 minutes. And the kid has a meltdown. I'm not saying Leota does, but if the kid then has a meltdown about that, they need a dopamine vacation. Okay. They need to just do things that are boring to them in order to lower their dopamine baseline. Otherwise, they will feel like two things. One, everything's boring. Okay. And they will not have any motivation to do things on their own. So we do have to be careful to not give our kids too much attention. But if our parents, while we were growing up, gave us too much of attention so that we had really good self-esteem, we would then turn into like people that are always posting on the internet looking for somebody to like us because we need all of that reinforcement that we got when we were a kid. It patterned us into thinking that we need it all the time. Okay. But if the parents, so two things are going to happen. We're going to grow up to be very good self-esteem, say my parents really loved me, they gave me all the attention that I needed, but we're going to become attention seekers. The other thing that can happen is my parents gave me so much attention and now the world, how do I say this? At some point, we get old enough that our parents stop giving us all that attention because we're not babies anymore. And then we take on the belief that I changed. Something's different now. And I don't deserve it anymore. Like I was lovable and now I'm not lovable because my parents gave me so much attention and now they're giving me a normal amount of attention. Just the shift from too much to normal is enough for us to take on the belief that we something's changed and we've become different and now we're not good enough anymore. And we no longer deserve it. And now this is where you get adults that look like their kids. This is where you get adults that dress in super tiny outfits and they're showing too much skin and or they talk like with really high small voices and that's because they're trying to get attention as a kid even though they're an adult, because that's when they got the attention that they needed, was when they were the most young. So typing in point number 2. Boop, doop, doop, point number 2. Actually, I'm going to have to add it in as a new, create new banner. 2. I apologize. I'm hitting the wrong buttons and it's making me take. I'm going to put, you feel, yeah, this is the way. We're going to show this. Point number 2. Okay. Your second main underlying limiting belief is that you feel different. This one, by the way, is not as long as a talking point. Is not good enough. You feel different. Okay. So the funny thing about this one is it's weird. This one's a weird one because it works in both ways. Or you don't feel different. Both of them are a problem. Okay. So I'm going to just edit that. You feel different or you don't. Okay, so quick point to this. There you were, you were young kids. The point I just made, you were fine. You're getting all the attention you needed. Suddenly you grew a couple of extra inches. Your needs became different. You became different, and suddenly you didn't get the attention that you were getting before. Now you don't like being different. Okay. This one's a really easy one to understand when you're in school. Okay. The cliques, the cliques. I don't know. Some people say cliques, some people say cliques. Okay. The groups, the groupings, the natural grouping of children. Okay. When you take 100 people and put them into a space, they're going to group. They're going to find ways that they are like each other and not like each other. And that's totally fine as long as there's enough people in each of the groups, enough being at least 2. Okay. Because if there's one, if you put 100 people and there's like 3, 5, 50, you're going to get these like giant groups. And then you're going to get these like kind of 1 or 2 medium and a bunch of tiny groups. Okay. And if you want to be in the big group and you can't find a way that you fit into that big group, you're going to have low self-esteem because you feel like you're different. You're too different from the big group. Or you look at the big group and go, I don't like the vibe of that. They're just all so similar to each other. I like being unique. I like standing out. I need to feel different. And so if you don't feel different enough, that's going to be low on your self-esteem and you're going to feel like you're not good enough. Okay. But this isn't a not good enough. This is really just the experience of saying, here's another example. Walk into a room filled with prom. Let's go with prom. Okay. All these kids show up for prom. They're wearing suits and dresses. And like, there's a group of like 10 boys and a group of 10 girls. And you go to the 10 boys and be like, you're looking sharp tonight, men. Very nice. Very nice. And you go to the girls and you're like, everyone's looking beautiful, of course. And then you just make the mistake of pointing at one girl with a pink dress and go, that's a nice pink dress. Oh, damn. You pointed one out. Now, that one girl, okay, it doesn't matter if girl or guy. You go to the one of the guys, you'll be like, I like your tie, young sir. Okay, great. You just, it's called, you just alienated the other 9 of the kids in that group. Even though you gave everyone a generic, you all look good, and you're being honest, the fact that you pointed one out is going to make the other 9 feel different. So you might think to yourself, that one boy, that one girl, now they're going to think too highly of themselves. But see, it doesn't work that way. See this, you feel different or you don't. You just pointed one out, and that can actually make that kid feel very anxious. Why am I different? Why did he point me out? I'm saying he because I'm thinking about myself doing this. Why did they point me out? Yeah, I know they said I have a nice tie, but like, pretty sure my tie is just as nice as everyone else's. Am I doing something wrong here? You see the words in the head? Just because that kid got pointed out as different and they don't want to be different, even though it was a compliment, they wanted to be part of the group. And as soon as they got pointed out, that made them different. That made them special. And they either wanted to be special, they wanted to be different. And they're like, yeah, I did a good job on my tie. I really did. I really did spend a long time picking this exact pink of dress. I'm glad they noticed. They either wanted to be different or now they got all kinds of anxiety. Oh no, they pointed me out. Now everyone else is going to start looking at me because like they pointed out my tie and my dress. Now all the rest of the 9 people in my group are going to start looking at me weird. Like, why did I deserve it, not them? Being different causes all kinds of troubles. Okay. Or not being different enough causes all kinds of troubles. Any questions? Is that clear enough? Because the rest is just a bunch of examples. I'd have to come up with a whole bunch of examples to just make the same point over and over again. Point number 3. What is point number 3? It's, yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually forgetting point number 3. And I meant to type this all out in advance, but for those of you like Mawesh that weren't here at the beginning, we started late because of technical problems. And because of my technical problems, I didn't get a chance to type everything out. So I'm hoping that my notes, yes, they are still up. There it is. I don't know how to type this out. Okay, so we're gonna hide that one. Boop. I'm gonna type it out literally. Okay, and I kind of have to explain it. Oh my God, I have to keep doing this over and over. I don't know why it keeps deleting it. Resources not available to you. Please don't delete this time. Add banner. Show the banner. There we go. Okay, resources not available to you. Just checking out the comments. Feeling othered, our sense of belonging, not or not such as great. Yes, thank you very much, Mawish. Okay, everyone good? Good. Okay. Resources not available to you. This is the third underlying limiting belief. This is a tricky one. I left it to last because, well, I guess the honest answer is because I forgot. I mean, I already told you I forgot what the third one is. But pronoia, watch the previous video so you understand pronoia. Everything worked out perfectly. This is actually the best one to leave to last. And I didn't even know why until I just did it by accident. All right. Resources not available to you. All right, what's my talking point here? I'm going to fake needing to drink so that I can think about this. Okay, so this is a tough one because quite literally, sometimes resources are not available to you, but it still created the underlying limiting belief that forever resources are not available to you. Okay, so just to reiterate, parents, in the case that your parents didn't give you enough contact, praise, play, comfort. Contact and comfort, I guess they're kind of different things. Yeah, they kind of are. Each one of these, by the way, is tied to a neurochemical that brings you happiness. Exercise is endorphins, I can't even say it, norepinephrine, something like that. Exercise is endorphins. Contact, physical touch is oxytocin. Saying good job, you need praise. Wow, I'm really wow, look at that picture. It's so nice. That's dopamine, reward. Serotonin. What releases serotonin? Oh, serotonin is play. Serotonin is play. Praise is dopamine. Exercise is endorphins. Physical touch is oxytocin. And technically, a bit of an adrenaline rush gives you some happiness. So adrenaline is when your parents get you to try something new and you're a little bit hesitant to do it, and then you succeed, you get both the adrenaline and the dopamine. Okay. So you always have to push your kids to do something new, but just a little bit. Okay. Never too much. So they get that adrenaline. That's how you get all 5 of the happy chemicals. So resources not available to you. If you don't get one of these 5 things enough, you don't get enough praise, you don't play. Okay, I think I said it enough. Or basic things like we don't have enough food. Like this is the food that we have. We're going to eat meat and potatoes every single day. This is a real thing in the UK. I don't know about other cultures and traditions, but like there are places where they were eating just like literally bread and potatoes every single day because that's what they had. And we only go shopping at Value Village. We just don't have enough money to buy brand new things. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a kid and you go to school, I remember doing this. Yeah, If I'm the only kid going to school with vinyl shoes on that are not leather, like, I'm just remembering this now because my parents shopped at Zellers, which existed back then, and I'm going to school with like, they're like cool knockoffs, like they're like, they look like Adidas, but they just got like some kind of like stripes on the side, and they're made out of vinyl, but it doesn't say Adidas. Like, you kind of notice, like, there's nothing wrong with that. The brand new shoes. And, but my parents were not going to spend $100 on a pair of running shoes. They spent $20 on a pair of running shoes. And then when I burned through them, they had the money to go buy another pair. But I'm a kid, and if I'm standing out and feeling different, that's going to stick, right? And they're like, why me? Why am I the only kid here that's wearing the 20? I'm not. Okay, there's that one other kid, because there's always the grouping, right? That happens. Okay, there is one or two other kids, and they also are wearing, vinyl shoes that are going to literally rip. They're just going to crack because they're not made out of leather. You know what? So I'm not the only one. I'm not totally different. We're different. But why do we not have the same resources that everyone else has? How come our parents don't have the same money as everyone else? My parents worked their asses off, by the way. They did a great job, and we're doing well. Okay. Like, we're doing well enough in our lives. But when you're a kid, you don't think that. And so we think, okay, how do I raise the money to buy my own expensive running shoes? Because this is what we're all going to end up doing when we grow up. I know that when my parents didn't give me all the candy I wanted, I thought, oh, the second I have money, I'm going to buy a bag of candy, right? Anytime that we are denied something, our brain locks onto that and says, I must have it. Okay, this is a subconscious wiring that we just happen to have as humans. We want most what we are denied the most. I'm going to Jan is in with us, so her comment, I can't post it onto the broadcast. So I'm going to read Jan's great one. Jan says, I've always stood out because I wore glasses. My parents couldn't afford store ones, so I wore government supplied glasses growing up in England. I didn't even know they had that. Apparently in England they have that. That's a great example, Jan. And I'm sure they worked perfectly well, didn't they? I'm sure you could see, and there was nothing wrong with them, but there's just something about knowing that they didn't come from a store, right? Like, it just makes you feel different. So here's the thing. When those resources are not available to us, one of two things happens. One, we feel like this is not like, it's not my fault that I don't have those shoes. I don't have a job. I'm a kid. It's not like I failed. I'm not good enough. It's just, for some reason, my family doesn't have the resources. So, okay, no problem. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to literally, put out newspapers. I'm going to raise the money to have the shoes that I couldn't have. And parents say this all the time, I'm going to give my kids the life that I never had, right? Like this, yeah, there's Lydia just like, yeah, totally. She's holding Leota just like, and it's just, there's just me saying, I'm going to give, and she's just like, totally, yes, I'm going to give here's the thing. What if we don't have the resources to give our kids the life we never had? How does that start to make us feel? I'm just going to remove her now because I don't want to. Too much singling out makes her different. But just for the record, she's the only one with a kid on her lap. So she came different. And special. Just change the word from different to special, and sometimes it works. Okay. How does that make you feel? I mean, that's really what this comes down to. Try to put yourself into a situation, whichever one is your own. Feel free to share your story, just like Jan. Okay, Jan, I would love to put you on the screen, but your devices are not connected, and we will figure that out one day. How did it make you feel? Can anybody share that simply not having the resources, does it make you feel trapped? Does it make you feel weak? Here's a good one. Why did everyone get, I remember this. Why did everyone get such a high mark on their on their essays and I didn't? Well, I don't understand. I read the same book that all the other students read. Why is their marks so much higher? I put the same content in. So I go to the teacher, and the teacher says, well, they all went above and beyond. They went to the library and they got more books and they added more content. I'm like, I didn't even know I had access to that resource, but I do. No problem. I go to the library. I get the books. I put more content in. Then this happens. This is that whole point that Moesh made about it's never good enough. Why is my mark now? Why did it go up and now it went back down? Well, all of the other students went onto the internet and got even more information. I'm like, well, hold on. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. Wait, hold on. This is not fair because you're teaching us, teacher, what we're supposed to be putting into that essay. Why are you marking me on my ability to get someone else's knowledge? That's what I'm here. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be giving me that knowledge. Why do I got to go get more? Now you're telling me that yours wasn't enough. And that is not available to me. I don't have access to that other knowledge. So now you're putting me down. You're saying that my worth is less because I don't have access to that resource. I just processed just live psychotherapy. We just processed that out live right now. I totally forgot that happened to me. Totally forgot. That actually happened to me. Wait, you're telling me that I'm less worthy because I don't have access to the resources. I am less worthy. Like I am worth less. I am less valuable because I have less access to resources. That's what that means to me personally. Like I literally just processed that out right now. All right, for the people that are streaming on Facebook, I can show your comments. Made you feel less ambitious and dissatisfied because you didn't have access to resources. I'm not sure. I had ugly clothes as a kid, secondhand. Here's the thing. Now, it's not a fault. Being secondhand doesn't make things ugly. Just having poor taste makes things ugly. Did you actually had very ugly clothes? And how do we know unless we're comparing? And how do we know unless when we're comparing that there is something about these clothes that stands out as different? So because they were different, that's how we consider them to be ugly. Because I'm telling you right now, Jennifer, if everyone else had the exact same clothes, we wouldn't be able to call them ugly. So it's all through comparison and being different. So as a grown-up, I acquired too much nice clothing, an overload of things that I don't have to get. There you go. Overload of things I didn't have or get and wanted. And this is compensation. So we are compensating or overcompensating. Thanks a lot for typing that out, Jen. And this is the result of the resources that are not available to us. We now feel like we need to scramble. I need to get more. I need to have more. I need to work harder. I need to have better things. Because I didn't have them and now I must have them because otherwise I won't feel worthy enough. And ultimately, all three of these lead to the same one thing. I have to go to my banners and type this out. Make sure I don't delete it this time. This all leads to this. There's your dopamine praise. So even if people are celebrating you, telling you that everything you have is good enough, oh, I love your dress, it doesn't matter how much they praise you, you're going to feel like you don't deserve it. If somebody says you look beautiful and they want to hug you and they hug you and they want to kiss you, you're going to be like, a little bit of that if you don't feel like you deserve it. Because your parents didn't do it enough for you. If your parents didn't do it enough, you weren't good enough, you didn't deserve it, and you're thinking subconsciously, I wish they would hug me. I know you're hugging me, but I'm stuck on I wish that they did. Your friends tell you how much they love. Wow, that's a really, oh my God. So Jan, who said that she had, we have a Jen and a Jan. Okay, so Jennifer was wearing the secondhand clothing and now to this day has to buy really nice stuff. Jan was the one with the glasses in England, and she said that she now refuses to wear glasses to this day, and she lives with contacts. She will barely even wear sunglasses because of the impact it had on her, that she was wearing those government release glasses. Do you see how much this impacted your life? These three things, eh? I'd love to hear more about that, Jennifer. And then the self-abuse starts. Jennifer says, so as a grown-up, I required too much things, overload of things I didn't have, get, or wanted. And then the self-abuse starts. And this is probably just in your, I'm assuming in your wording, the way you put yourself down. Oh, I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. Oh, none of this looks good enough now. I try and buy the nicest stuff, and I can't even see myself looking good in it. Okay, so here's the point. You have took on a belief that you don't deserve it. It's as simple as that. You took on a belief that you don't deserve it because somebody didn't give it to you. And here's the point. They were supposed to. Okay? They were supposed to. Your parents were supposed to give you those things. Praise, play with it, which is exercise, comfort, touch, excitement, a little bit of fear. Okay? A little bit of pressure to grow, a little bit. That's your adrenaline. They had to give you these things. They had to pressure you to grow so that you knew that you could achieve it, so that you knew that you would not buckle under pressure. They had to give you the right amount of pressure. It was their job to push you to do better, but just enough. But it was their job to praise you and tell you that everything you did was awesome, that you should keep going. That just because you can't play the violin on day one doesn't mean you won't. Just because you can't play you can't draw like a masterpiece on day one doesn't mean you won't. You don't quit on day one. You keep going. That's encouragement. Okay, that's kind of like praise. They're praising you for keep going. And that's like what Lydia was saying at the beginning, like, how do I stay motivated towards my goal? And it's like, well, don't only get praise after you achieve the best. You got to get praise for just taking one step. Remember when it was like to be a kid? I don't think anybody's going to say yes to this, but remember what it was like being a kid and not being able to walk? And then you took your first step and everyone had a meltdown about it. Like, this was the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, my child is capable of walking, as if it wasn't going to happen. Of course it was going to happen, but it was that day that it happened. And you took your first steps and everyone was like, this is amazing. And you were like, I don't get it. I'm walking because it's what I do. But your parents are like, no, it's not what you do. You were crawling and now you're walking. This is amazing. Okay, well, that lasted how long? How long did you get that amazement and excitement? How long were they telling everyone that you could walk for? A few days? A week maybe? Maybe a couple of weeks, and then it just didn't matter anymore. Because it wasn't different anymore. It wasn't different enough. Now they're looking for, they're going to go, okay, now when are they going to run? When are they going to run? Oh, and then when they ran, oh, when are they going to ride a bike? When are they going to ride a bike? Then they ride the bike. Oh, when are they going to whatever? Go do the next thing. It's always the next thing. It's always better. It's never good enough. It makes you feel like it's never good enough because they're only praising the newest, next best thing instead of praising you for just being in the moment. Oh, I'm really proud that you've decided to get on the bike again. That's now what we deserve praise for, is doing it again. And we didn't get enough praise for just living life normally. We only got praise for when it was new and exciting and big and bold. And this is why we don't keep moving towards our goals. This is why we don't even set goals sometimes. Because we're like, what's the point? I don't have that dopamine. I'm just not, none of it feels rewarding. All right, how do we change it? I was giving a bit of a pause there in case comments were rolling in, which they did. A great comment came in from Lydia, but I'm not going to read it out loud, so I'm just reading it. Jan grew up with the nickname Four Eyes because of the glasses. That's a pretty common one, but I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. And why? And that, by the way, when you get name called, it leads to you feeling different. So what they're trying to do, so when kids are putting you down, they actually are trying to push you out of their group. Okay. So if the kids who are not wearing glasses look around and they see that most of the kids are not wearing glasses, they want to feel like they're the same, that they fit in. And so they're going to make sure that they push away anybody that's different. So if you're wearing glasses, they're going to say, oh, no, you're Four Eyes. You don't belong with us. And they're going to push you out of their group because they don't want to diminish what makes them different. Okay. So if you're now in the group and you're just as cool as them and you have glasses, that reduces the number of things that makes them cool. Well, not having glasses made me cool, but now Jan's here with glasses and she's cool. So now I got to find something else that makes me cool. Because they're always trying to find ways. It's so both of them. They're trying to find ways that they're different and special, but they need to make sure that they have enough kids that are the same kind of different and special. So they're the same, well, different. Anyway. Okay, we have to find a way to fix all this. From not getting praise or love, yep, not deserving. So is it mostly that the self-abuse, Jennifer, is that just that you just tell yourself that you don't deserve it? Is that really where the most of the self-abuse is just like, why I don't deserve this? That's also what not worthy means. I don't deserve it. That's the end result. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Okay, I need to move on. We need to come to some kind of closure. I need to make a banner. How are we going to make a banner? Okay. First and foremost, knowledge is power. The fact that you even understand this should bring something upon you that feels like freedom. Okay. So we call it freedom, but it really feels like a weight is being lifted, that there's less confusion. Also, that there is a sense of it's not my fault. Okay. So just knowing that everybody here all went through the same one of these three things. Okay. So first and foremost, you're not different. And you are not different. And that is a good thing in the way that we can all share an experience of these three main underlying beliefs. And that brings comfort. When we are not too different, it brings comfort because it means that somebody will know how to help us, that we have access to a resource because we're not that different. Whatever I went through, somebody else went through it. I guarantee it. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly like yours because you are your own individual person, but they went through the same generic experience. Many people wore glasses and got called Four Eyes. They just didn't get their glasses from England through a special program. Okay. But knowing that there are similarities is enough to empower you to say, if we all got into this problem, this mess the same way, then we can all get out of it the same way. Okay. And that brings comfort. And it should lift from you some of the weight of this other one. Why it's working now so perfectly and it wasn't before. It is not your fault. It was your parents' job. I totally got sidetracked. I'm just realizing. It was totally your parents' job to give you one of these 5 things. Oh, right. I started reading comments. There's another one. Nice. Yes. Jennifer is saying that the self-abusive behavior has lessened a lot in my older years because she learned about herself. Oh, that kind of sounds like knowledge is power. And too tired. Yeah. Definitely, we're getting too tired for that. But when we're young, we have more than enough energy to have that self-abuse going strong. Not your fault. Okay. This is your number one way out of this. First and foremost, you got to say this to yourself. Okay, let's practice. I'm going to do it together. Is Moesh still in? Because I see the viewers goes up and down and up and down, just what happens. All right, let's try this out. We're going to go, I'm going to move this up here. Give me a second. We're going to do a little exercise. Okay, we're going to do it really quickly. Okay, we're going to call it, it's not my fault. Okay, it's not my fault exercise. Here we go. Ready? Hopefully Moesh is in on this too, because it's going to be, it's a really good one. Anyway, here we go. My parents didn't praise me enough. They didn't tell me enough nice things about me. But they were supposed to. And it's not my fault that they didn't. I deserved all of that praise that I didn't get because I am good enough. My parents didn't play with me enough. And yeah, maybe I wanted to play all the time, but there was some times where I really did deserve to get more attention, and they could have gave it to me and they didn't. And that's not my fault that they didn't give it to me. I deserved to be played with. I was a good kid. And it's not my fault that they didn't do it. My parents didn't cuddle with me enough. They didn't touch me enough. And I'm assuming they just didn't realize as I got older that I still needed it. You know, when I became 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, I still needed those hugs. I still needed that touch. And they didn't give me enough of it. And it's not my fault that they didn't do it. You know, my parents, they didn't encourage me enough. They didn't tell me I could do it and I should try. And they didn't sit right there with me while I tried and gave me the education that I needed. Like, they didn't give me the resources that I needed right there. Like, they didn't give me the resource of encouragement, of education, of just like, they didn't tell me that like every time I failed, that was actually learning something. That was a good thing. They didn't encourage me enough to try harder. And that's not my fault. Like, I didn't know I had to do that. I needed my parents to teach me. And it's not my fault that they didn't. You know, my parents gave too much attention to my brothers or sisters, or they singled one of us out too much. That made me feel like I was different. Or my parents really didn't say very much anything about my brothers and sisters, but they kept pointing out when I was doing stuff wrong. They just kept singling me out, alienating me. And like, I don't know why I got so much more or less attention, why they made me feel like I was somehow different, why they kept asking me, why can't I be more like Johnny and Susie? Why they keep comparing me? Is this all such a big competition? Does it really matter? Can't we all be different? And that is good. So I don't know where they were coming from, but it's not my fault. Okay. Because I'm allowed to be as different or as the same as I want or need to be. And it's not my fault. It's not my fault that they treated me that way. I deserved to have good enough. I understand that we can't all have $1,000 shoes and there's always better and better and more. But you know, what I had was good enough. My glasses worked. Okay. And my shoes that I had to wear, I also wore glasses, Jan. And they were big and ugly because they were cheaper. So similar boat, Jan. And I would go in and I would say, why don't we have the nicer looking? Like everyone else has got these different glasses. They're like, they cost more. We need to get the ones that are covered by our benefits. So I get it, Jan. I didn't get mocked for it. But you know, I got what it felt like to look different. I didn't want to look different. My shoes look different. My clothes look different. I always wear the slightly cheaper clothes. But it really was good enough. I didn't really need to have better, but that I just didn't know better myself as a kid, and we didn't know better as kids. We just looking and comparing ourselves to see, you know, how do we fit in and where do we fit in, and we slot ourselves into the category of kids that have the same as us, right? But not having the resources to have better, well, I didn't cause that. Did I? Is that really my fault? Okay, well, my parents had a kid, and that meant that they had more expenses. And it's just true that they're dividing up their money, and I'm the second kid, so now there's even more expenses, and they're working hard. But you know, it's not my fault. Like I didn't cause them to have me, right? I didn't cause to live in a place where we didn't get paid a lot and things cost a lot. Like some places have high costs of living and others don't. None of that's my fault. Okay. And ultimately, you know, I know that they did exactly what they needed to do, and it was actually quite perfect. But just pointing out that for all those who didn't have the resources available to them that they really needed, like there are people that I know people that didn't have shoes. Like, I mean, they just didn't even have shoes. But it's not your fault. You deserved to have the best that was available to you. And it's quite possible that that was the best that you got. Okay. But it's still not your fault. And what that led to you not feeling worthy of love and praise because you got singled out, because you didn't have all the resources that you needed, because you didn't get the attention that you needed all the time. Like it all led to this shame and you not feeling worthy. And that wasn't your fault. But now, if you know better, now it becomes your fault. Okay? Because knowledge is power. And now that you know all of this, you have to take responsibility. Take responsibility. You have an ability to respond to what you've gone through. I really don't know if I'm spelling that wrong, but I literally just moved my mouse thinking that you could see it because I was highlighting the word ability. I don't know what I was thinking there. Ability. You have to own this. You have to own that you have the ability, okay? What is going to free you from all of this after getting all of this knowledge is you saying, I have to do something about it. I have to make the choice to say it wasn't my fault. And now it is. Now it is my fault if I keep putting myself down. Because I know where it came from. I know how I created it. And I did, like in Jennifer's case, she did go on and buy herself nice clothes. Like in Jan's case, she got contacts. But why do you all still feel the unworthiness, the lack of love? You took responsibility to overcome, to fill the lack, okay? You filled the gap. You did all of that. But what's the actual responsibility? You took that responsibility. Which responsibility did you not take? There's one. Here we go. We're going to do, I have to type it out. And we're going to do this. Here we go. Let's do this. Boom. It wasn't your parents' fault either. Okay. At some point, your parents were children and they needed 5 things, which you might remember we went over, and they didn't get them. And they did the best that they could. So they, as they grew up, they moved to new countries. They got new jobs. They bought better things and they wanted better for their kids than what they got. So they put more pressure on you. They judged you more and harder. They tried to cut you out of doing things that you wanted because they thought it was going to be better for you. But they were overcompensating for something that happened to them. And I understand, I can see some comments coming in. I understand that we're talking about like glasses and clothing, but you know, there's other things that happened to many people that led to this low self-esteem, led to people being open to abuse, to severe abuse. That low self-esteem, that low self-worth led to people feeling like they couldn't stand up for themselves while they were getting sexually abused or while they were being inappropriate attention given to them. But we need to break free from that, okay? We need to say that was in the past and I'm here now. And I decided to take my power and get the glasses I wanted, to have the life I wanted, to have self-worth, to say what touches me and what doesn't touch me. But the only way you're going to fully be empowered is if you do this. You must say, I'm not willing to feel bad about it anymore. I'm just choosing to not let that be something that makes me feel unworthy because I'm educated now. Plus, I'm not 5 years old anymore. So the forgiveness practice is as simple as this. My parents didn't give me all the attention that I wanted and needed, but you know, they were busy, they were overworked, and they were juggling things. They were doing the best they could with what they had at the time. They didn't have the education they needed. It's not all their fault. But I'm blaming them. Okay, I'm blaming them, but it's not all their fault. So I have to let that go. There are people that abused me, and nobody deserved that. But those people were in pain. Those people were lost. Those people were confused. Those people did not get all of the resources that they needed. Otherwise, they would never have come to a place where they could abuse me at all. It's not entirely their fault. It's a chain of trauma, and it gets passed down. And I'm not going to sit around anymore and blame them for the pain I'm in now. I'm going to take responsibility and say, it's not all their fault. I'm going to let it go and say, I have the freedom to choose what I'm going to think about myself now. And I need to let it go in order to get all of that power back. People are wired to either make you the same as them or make you different for some reason. Okay. And it's ego, it's identity, it's how we identify ourselves. We're all wired that way. Kids all do it. It's not their fault that they called me Four Eyes. It's not their fault that they needed to like make fun of me and what, like, it's kind of like the people that were making, the kids that were making fun of me, it's not their fault because they should have been educated by their parents. Their parents didn't educate them. It's not their fault because they probably got really ridiculed while they were young. And I don't know, maybe they feel like it's just fair that somebody else gets ridiculed. We're like that sometimes. Oh, you know, the world is rough on me, so let it be rough on other people. And this is just a chain of trauma. And we have to say it's not their fault. I want to forgive them. I want to let that go. I want to take my power back and say it's up to me to decide if I'm worthy, not up to someone else. And all of these resources that weren't available to me, I grew up, I found a way to get access to them, and I still can. There's still time to get more. There's still time to find more resources. There's still time to So I need to let it go in order to actually get it. All right, so here's Jennifer. Jennifer says she's a 61-year-old 18-wheeler long haul driver. I handle and still feel undeserving of good and praise. Jennifer swears like a trucker. That's because Jennifer is a trucker. And wait, what's the rest of it? I still feel undeserving of good and praise, or I deserve it, and when I get it, I don't know how to receive it. Okay. Keep doing this practice, Jen. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Okay? It's not my fault that they did that. It's not my fault that they didn't educate me. It's not my fault that they put too much pressure on me because they didn't know how to love themselves. It's not my fault that they tried to make me successful because they felt unsuccessful in their own lives. And the way that they were going to feel more successful is if they saw me be successful, because they failed. Jennifer, this always comes down to detaching from the need to fix your parents. It happened. It's in the past. Do you want to receive love? When you receive it, your subconscious mind says, but my mom. Do we need to reiterate? You're 61 years old, Jen. You're not 5. You don't need that kind of praise. You need a different kind of praise. And the reason why you're not receiving the praise that you're getting right now is because your inner child is still trying to get the praise that she wanted when she was a kid. That's the praise that you would actually receive. So Jennifer, if when you were a kid, you needed to hear, I'm really proud of you. Well, as adults, we call that condescending. Okay, we don't like other adults telling us that they're proud of us. It makes us feel like we're a kid. So you're not going to hear that very much. But Jennifer, if you really needed to hear, I'm proud of you, that's going to be the praise that you will receive now. And Jennifer, I'm very proud of you. Okay, I've known you for a few years and you've done some really great things, and you just, no matter how hard your life has been, Jen, you just keep going. You're like a long haul trucker or something. You just keep going. You have endurance. You have a lot of endurance. And I wish for you to have a much easier life, that you don't have to practice all that endurance, but you don't have to earn that love. Okay? You don't have to earn it. You already deserve it. You don't have to do something to earn praise. You already deserve it now. And if you don't feel like you deserve it, that's not your fault, because that's the way that you were raised. But I am proud of you. And there's a very good chance that your mom or your mom and your dad are there's a very good chance that they are much more proud of you than you know. Okay. And Lydia is the only face I can see, and she's got a kid on her lap, and you can just nod, Lydia. Come on. Cause we all know this. I'm a parent too. How many times a day, Lydia, do you say, I'm proud of you to Leota? Like never. She's like, yeah. Like we don't say literally the words, I'm proud of you. Get what I'm saying? You might say it in some other way. Oh, I can't actually even hear you. I just forgot that I don't have any sound. Everyone else can hear you though. Give me 1 second.
Yes.
Well, hey, there you are.
I like when my mommy says that to me.
You like when
Do you say I'm proud of you?
I think so. Well, I tell you good job a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point. Okay. So you say good job a lot, right? So then when we become adults, when we hear good job,
Mm-hmm.
we don't really take it in as I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
But when we're kids, we internalize it as I deserve that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really important. Leota, what did you say that you like? Leota, you said you like it when you hear that a lot. What does your mom say that you like hearing?
Good job.
I don't know if Leota's there yet, but Leota, how does it make you feel when you hear good job?
It makes me feel happy.
Yeah. And does it make you want to do more of it?
Yeah.
Makes you want to do it again, eh?
Yeah, and I like doing it.
You mean your artwork and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old
Even
dopamine.
if my mommy or teacher say good job when I do math, I like it.
Oh, really? You like it with math too? Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
playing my game and
Sorry. Didn't mean to cut her off. So the thing is, okay, let's pull all this stuff off. So you see how simple that was? Like, good job. I'm proud of you. But so Jennifer, if people are saying to you, I don't know, something that isn't that, then you might have a harder time taking it in. But if they are saying good job and you're not taking it in, this applies to everybody, by the way. If they are telling you what you need to hear and you're not taking it in, you have to say to yourself, I don't need them to be my mom. Okay? I'm 61. How old's Leota again? Like 9? Do it again. Oh, you're not a 6. She's 6? Wow. So you're not 6 anymore. But when you're 6, you really need it. It makes a big difference. It makes you feel happy. But you don't need to hear that all the time when you're a grown-up. So I think next week what we'll do is we're going to do the praise you always wanted. Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll do an exercise about, so this week we did a forgiveness, letting it go, and just the knowledge of how you got to be the way you are. Excuse me. Lydia Jan says, beautiful child. Jan also says, I'm free and strong and thrilled to be here. And I'm very happy that you are here. Who else? My wiring is mixed up. Next time to sort it out in my brain. Yeah, and it's practice. That's the thing. You know, let's end on this point, okay? You wired over just made this up, but I think it's catchy. You got your wiring is a patterning that happened over time. You got wired over time. It wasn't like instant. Not all of it. Sometimes it is. But it takes time to rewire. Okay? It's okay for things that you needed to hear over and over again. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. It's okay to take time saying that to yourself, and it just takes time to rewire it. Okay? There are some things that happen that are traumas, and they happen like in an instant, and you get programmed, and you need something that like a hypnotherapy that will rewire that in an instant. But that usually involves, even in hypnotherapy, because I do hypnotherapy, rapid transformation therapy, hypnotherapy. Let me just see here. Some things you need time to just practice, like to pattern yourself and to wire yourself. So just keep repeating. I do deserve that. I enjoy it. That's another one, Jennifer. If somebody, this is a really good one. When somebody gives you the praise, simple as this. This is how you get dopamine, all the way back to the beginning. Every time somebody does something to you and you have a knee-jerk reaction to like reject it, somebody gives you praise or something that you always wanted, and you're like, I don't really deserve it. You literally have to say these words. I like that. Okay. You can say, I love that. I like that. I enjoy that. Oh, that's nice, but it's got to be something like this. I like that. Every time you say with feeling, I like that, you get an instant dopamine ping. For real. Okay. Every time. There's no limit. You'll get it over and over again. I like that. Okay. You hear how I'm saying it? It's not like, yeah, I like that. You have to actually like it. Now, if you're wiring yourself to like it, to receive it, you got to catch yourself if you're negating it. Okay. Wow. Good work. Oh yeah. Thanks. It could be better. That's negating it. Okay. That's reversing the happy wiring that you were trying to get. So if you do that, you got to catch yourself and go, but I like it. I like that. Thanks. I want more of that. So anything that you want more of in your life, you have to repeat an infinite number of times. I like that. So you're doing great. Yeah. I don't think I'm doing great, but I like that you think so. I want to think that I'm doing great. I like when I think I'm doing great. So I have to start saying to myself, what do I like? Then I will do more of that. And then I will say, I like that. Like I have to take the power to create the thing that I feel like I'm lacking. But when I get it, I still have to say, I like that. Or I like when. Okay. So I may not be doing this perfectly, but I really like it when I do it perfectly. Okay. So that's speaking into the future a little bit. But the fact that you're saying you like when you do it, that dopamine will drive you. It creates the desire to do more of it. Good job, Leota. Good job, Leota. Right? Every time you say, I like that, your brain will be like, oh, I need to have it. That makes me feel worthy and loved. Every time I say I like that, it makes me want to do more of it. Yes. Then keep saying, I love it when I do that. And it will drive you to go do more of it. All right, let's call that enough for today. My new mantra. Hey. That's praise, FYI. I am clapping. This is a smile. That makes you feel connected, but it's authentic. I really am clapping and I am happy. And I'm proud of you. Keep it up, okay? What were we saying we're going to talk about next week? We are doing praise next week. This is how I will remember. Praise always exercise, okay? So it's actually not very much. This was the training to that exercise, but we will do the exercise next week. The praise you always wanted. Okay, the praise you always wanted exercise is we're gonna I'm gonna speak in riddles so that it will be intriguing for you to show up. It's an exercise that connects you to the praise you always wanted, but it frees you from needing it any longer so that you can move fully into being an adult. And it frees you from the praise that you needed when you were a kid, because that's actually holding you back still. So you're going to get like, oh, good job on, I don't know, some job that you're doing as an adult, but you're going to think, oh, but my mom didn't like it when I drew pictures. We're like, they're completely irrelevant, but it's your brain will wire in a way that you don't deserve any praise. So we have to free you from what's happening as a kid and bring you into being an adult. Okay. And that's the praise you always wanted exercise. And everyone's going, great. Thank you. Now I'm getting, yay. Excellent. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. That was a great point. That was a great point, Jennifer. I love this. I love this idea for next week. You're awesome. Thank you. Yay, yay, yay. Dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. Okay. You guys are awesome. It really makes a big difference that you show up and that we do this interactively. I know that I am helping, but I'm happy that you guys think I am. Because I have no problem praising myself on how much I'm helping. Glad I was able to join in. Thanks. I'm really happy that you showed up, Jen, and it's really great that we're able to put your comments on the screen like that. Thanks everyone for commenting and sharing, and helps us all to feel like we're connected to each other. Thanks a lot, Miriam. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan, Miriam, Lydia, and I'm assuming Georgia, who doesn't look like she was here, is gonna message me later. So we'll shout out to Georgia too. Are you actually in Georgia again, Jen? I think she is. That's what GA is. All right. Good one. We're going to end the broadcast. Okay. And again, thank you very much for showing up, and thanks a lot for connecting. And comments. Yes, Jennifer actually is driving through Georgia. There was no Georgia on this time though. We're going to do, I noted we did an exercise. I think it was last week? We did all exercise with the energy work. So I'm going to try and make sure also that we have some weeks where it's more predominantly. We did exercise today though. The exercise was going through, and it's a mental exercise, okay, that we did. So next week is going to be a mental exercise as well. But we'll try and embody it. It's a mental exercise to imagine getting the praise you always wanted, but we have to look at how that connected into pain and suffering that we're holding in our body. Okay, so we'll connect the lack of praise to some kind of physical ailment that we're experiencing now. Okay, and we'll try and do that next week. Yay! Okay, bye. Have a good night.